Microsoft 365 licensing is more than procurement. It determines which security controls you can design, deploy, and operate. In this module, we'll connect license levels to Entra, Defender, Purview, Intune, audit, and compliance, then translate requirements into a practical hardening roadmap. We've moved from security concepts into practical planning. You've seen the Microsoft 365 security landscape, the zero trust principles behind good design, and how baselines, secure score, and gap assessments help expose priorities. Now we'll connect those desired controls to real licensing options, so architecture decisions are achievable, not just ideal. Licensing shapes the Microsoft 365 security control surface. It affects what you can enforce across identity, devices, email, data, compliance, and monitoring. A control may be a best practice, but if the capability is not licensed, it cannot be part of the real design. Strong architecture separates three things: the desired state, the licensed state, and what the team can realistically implement. Microsoft 365 licensing is best viewed as a security capability ladder. Business Premium is often a strong fit for small and mid-sized environments because it includes Intune, Entra ID P1, Defender for Business, and basic email protection with user limit considerations. E3 gives enterprises a solid productivity and management foundation, but many advanced detection, response, and compliance tools are not included. E5 brings together Microsoft's higher-end identity, threat protection, analytics, investigation, and compliance capabilities. Add-ons can extend a base license selectively, but always confirm current details against Microsoft service descriptions. Entra ID licensing follows a similar maturity path for identity security. The free tier provides the core directory, authentication, and basic account controls needed for Microsoft 365 access. P1 is where policy enforcement becomes practical, with conditional access, dynamic groups, self-service password reset, and stronger hybrid identity support. P2 adds higher risk controls, including identity protection, risk-based access decisions, privileged identity management, and deeper governance. For identity hardening, start by confirming the license tier. That determines which protections can actually be enforced. Defender licensing works in capability layers across workloads. Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 focuses on prevention, including safe links, safe attachments, anti-phishing, and email policy controls. Plan 2 adds investigation, attack simulation, hunting, and automated response. Endpoint protection follows the same pattern. Plan 1 provides device protection and attack surface reduction, while Plan 2 adds EDR, advanced hunting, analytics, and automated investigation. The greatest value comes when identity, endpoint, email, and cloud app signals connect through Defender XDR, enabling cross-domain detection and coordinated response. Licensing decisions should map to security outcomes, not just product names. Purview is a collection of connected compliance capabilities, not one single feature. Some plans include basic classification, sensitivity labels, retention labels, and protection controls. As requirements expand into automation, broader DLP coverage, endpoint monitoring, advanced audit, eDiscovery Premium, communication compliance, or insider risk, licensing often moves toward E5 compliance or equivalent add-ons. The practical approach is to start with requirements. Which regulations apply, what data is classified, which workloads must be monitored, and how deep investigations need to go. Then map licenses to those outcomes. Intune acts as the control plane for endpoints. It pushes device settings, app rules, compliance policies, and security baselines. Those controls produce a compliance state. Is this device healthy enough to access Microsoft 365? Defender for Endpoint strengthens that decision with threat telemetry and risk signals, so conditional access can respond to real attacks, not just static settings. For licensing, Business Premium, E3, and E5 commonly cover broad Intune management. More advanced needs, such as remote help or privilege management, may require Intune Suite add-ons. Microsoft 365 security planning is rarely a single-switch decision. Each control depends on a chain of prerequisites. Conditional access needs the right Entra ID license, usable identity signals, scoped users and groups, and ready authentication methods. Defender depends on workload licensing, onboarded devices or services, tuned policies, and alert handling. Purview DLP depends on where data lives, how well it is classified, policy scope, and audit evidence. A dependency matrix turns assumptions into checks, so you design controls the tenant can deploy, operate, and validate. For identity security, the dependency chain starts with Entra ID licensing. Baseline conditional access needs P1, or suites such as Business Premium, E3, or E5. Risk-based access requires P2, because it depends on identity protection signals for user and sign-in risk. Privileged identity management also requires P2 and helps reduce standing admin access. Regardless of license, prepare authentication methods, maintain break glass accounts, define exclusions carefully, and test policies in report-only mode before enforcement. Threat protection becomes stronger when signals connect. Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 provides core email defenses, while Plan 2 adds richer investigation, automation, and attack simulation. For endpoints, Plan 2 is usually the threshold for full EDR, advanced hunting, automated investigation, and threat analytics. Microsoft Defender XDR then correlates email, endpoint, identity, and cloud app activity into incidents, hunting data, and response actions. Licensing is only the starting point. Sensors must be onboarded, policies tuned, alerts triaged, and response playbooks defined before the platform delivers real operational value. Data protection also depends on more than turning on a policy. DLP works only when you know where sensitive data lives, how it is classified, and which workloads the policy covers. Endpoint DLP, Teams DLP, advanced classifiers, and broader cloud protection can all change the licensing requirement. Audit follows the same logic. Standard audit may support basic review, while advanced audit affects retention and investigation detail. Insider risk adds another layer, because employee monitoring requires compliance licensing, plus clear privacy, legal, HR, and governance boundaries. Limited licensing does not mean waiting for a perfect future state. Start by reducing the biggest risks with controls you already have: MFA, protected admin accounts, compliant endpoints, and stronger email defenses. Then phase in enhanced and advanced capabilities as budget, licensing, and operational maturity improve. If a recommended feature is missing, use compensating controls. For example, without Entra ID P2 risk-based conditional access, rely on strong baseline policies, admin MFA, sign-in monitoring, segmentation, and regular privileged role reviews. Most importantly, document the accepted risk and the planned path forward. A capability roadmap should be more than a wish list. Treat it as a scored investment plan. Rate each option against risk reduction, regulatory impact, user benefit, cost, dependencies, and operational readiness. Then sequence the work over time. Foundational controls come first, such as identity protection, device hygiene, and baseline logging, because advanced analytics are weak without reliable telemetry and mature processes. Medium-term work can expand detection, data protection, and response automation. Long-term investments should build on measured gaps and proven adoption. This makes licensing decisions defensible, traceable to business outcomes, and easier to revisit as risk changes. Licensing planning turns security intent into an achievable Microsoft 365 roadmap. Know which controls your licenses actually unlock. Map dependencies before designing conditional access, Defender, DLP, audit, or insider risk capabilities. When features are limited, prioritize by risk, phase adoption, and document compensating controls. Next, we'll apply this foundation to identity and access hardening with Microsoft Entra ID.